There and Back Again, a deepfake tale by Nick and John.
Hey everyone, welcome back to AsArt with Nick and John. We post 3 times a week on YouTube, so go ahead and subscribe to be notified. Also check out asart.space for all the audio and video links and any other content we might have on there. So Nick, we've done a lot of Harry Potter deepfakes. We've done a good number of Lord of the Rings. This is the compilation, one video to rule them all for all the deepfakes. Oh, yes. You like that?
One video to bind them. And in the darkness,
I like that even more.
find the fails within them.
Has to one-up me. Dang it.
Frodo Baggins, let's start from the beginning. Gandalf.
Frodo was an interesting one because, I mean, you think of Frodo, and it's for better or for worse, it's like the Luke Skywalker syndrome. You think of Frodo and you think of Elijah Wood, and it's hard to see past anybody else. But we did get a good Frodo, and a well-known Frodo as well. It's not an unknown actor.
Yes. Oh, you know, before we even go any farther, we collabed with Bryan Seeker, who did a recasting of all the characters and stuff. We were just able to pop in and do some deepfakes of a couple of his recasting, which is so much fun on our end, just being able to be included. Check out his channel. If you haven't seen his recasting videos, check them out. You can see who we're collabing with and stuff. But the first one, actually 2 of our Lord of the Rings characters were X-Men trailer characters. Yeah. I say trailers, X-Men characters. It was a lot of fun though. And I know we should have did a scene with both of them together. I know it would have been so much fun, but no, because that takes a lot of processing and time.
Maybe down the road. Maybe. No, maybe down the road. Yeah.
Maybe.
Funny to see a short Hobbit-sized Professor X with a full-grown Michael Fassbender as Aragorn. That would be entertaining to see.
Yeah. Is there any shots in the movie where he picks up Frodo and throws him? Because that would be a great one to do. Oh yeah, in the Bridge of Khazad-dûm. Remember, they're like,
oh yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, you fools!
Frodo was fun because it is a known actor. Now, I always have mixed feelings of recasting well-known actors. He's very well-known because it's hard not to see them as their like celebrity self or the other roles that they've played. But you know, he's a pretty flexible actor, and I think he fit that role pretty decently.
Frodo,
How
he
old was Elijah Wood when he was Frodo?
I think he was 17 or 18.
He looked, I think he's just a young looking dude even still, but he was young for sure. I would say early 20s. Do you think so? All right, we're having a virtual bet. We don't know. You guys can tell us who's right.
Please tell us in the comments down below who's winning.
Yeah. I thought he was I thought he was maybe early 20s.
They like were filming in 1995 or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? Like the movie took forever for them to start doing that stuff.
But he was a good casting, and then Michael Fassbender as Aragorn. It was funny. It was like, oh, we're X-Men, and you were going X-Men again.
Yes.
But that one kind of surprised me because when I'm doing the composites, after you generate the deepfakes, you have kind of a poster board, and then you put them on there. And I have a template that kind of helps me get started. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I didn't pick up the face. It's still Vigo. And then I look, oh no, that's Michael Fassbender. I'm like, oh, that fit pretty well.
Their face shapes, they have some like similar jaw lines, nose shapes. Like it's amazing how similar their faces are, especially when you see them next to each other. It's just like, wow, this could work. You know what I mean? That really could work. They're both great actors, almost even kind of similar actors. It's kind of like how Brendan Fraser from The Mummy always reminds me of like Chris Pratt. Like I feel like Chris Pratt is the new Brendan Fraser for a lot of movies and stuff like that. Man. Comedic kind of, you know, but it's like maybe Vigo and Michael Fassbender are like that same type of like good quality acting. And like, I don't know if they're both method actors. I know Vigo's a method actor, but I don't know if like Michael Fassbender is, but yeah,
he just seems like a dude to be a method actor. He seems like he has an intensity.
But you know what? Something we forgot to talk about was the scene we picked for the Frodo. And that was when he got the ring. Because remember, we're like, when he first sees Gandalf and he's like, you're late. Yeah. And I mean, like, what scenes do we pick? There's so many good scenes, like him and Sam. Like, is there like, you know what I mean? Like, what scenes do we pick? And we had the whole trilogy to pick from. And it's like, oh, no, what do we do? But we stayed away from the later ones because their faces are dirty. And we would have to find reference of dirty faces of the actors. so it would fit into the
replacement
frame.
actors. Yeah, yeah.
So we're like, we're not gonna do that, but his face is clean when he's getting when they're at the Council of Elrond. Is that what they call that scene?
I don't know.
The Fate of the Ring meeting.
Yeah, it's the Fate of the Ring. But it is a good section for. I'm thinking of the photo shots with Aragorn as well. It's him kind of coming to terms with what he needs to do, and there's a lot of nonverbal acting there as well, and that's fun from a deep fake standpoint, because you have to try and are we able to capture these emotions? Is the software able to train itself to be able to get those across? And overall, it did a pretty darn good job.
Yes, it did.
And with Aragorn, it was a little bit tougher because I didn't know how well the actor was working until Nick spliced back in the audio, because he's reacting to off-camera dialogue from Frodo, and I'm thinking he's just what is he doing? He's just looking weird. But then when I hear what he's reacting to, I'm like, oh, okay, that works. That works. So some of this, like if you guys have done any type of filmmaking, whether it's video editing or anything, until you're almost finished, you don't know if it's really working or not, which must be absolutely horrifying to be making movies that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, being a director or the DP. You're like, oh my gosh, is this going to work? It's not until you get the music, the visual effects, the sound effects, final edits, and you're like, oh, this worked, or oh no, so you never know until the very end.
That's so perfect that you brought that up, because we're doing animation of Lord of the Rings comparing to the live action, and one of the things we say in every one that we do, it's like, the music makes such a difference. Like, oh my gosh, you just have like quiet for the live animation. And you watch the live action, you have the beautiful Howard Shore score going on in the background. It's just like, oh my gosh, what a if you guys want to go to those videos, go watch those videos. They're so entertaining and fun, and also to see what they stole from the animation.
Borrowed. I said it in all the videos. Borrowed. Influences. But you know what? It is interesting, and it's not a knock on the animated film, because one, a movie score has a much bigger budget, and Howard Shore in those Lord of the Rings trilogies pumped out some of the best scores out of any films ever. Really, he really did. But it's fun to talk about that. We don't want to get too far off of that. That is a whole other video series that we're doing that still can be continued. We're probably going to do 3 or 4 parts. How many parts do you think that'll end up being?
As many as it takes to get to Mordor.
Yeah.
We love Lord of the Rings. I'm going to extend that as long as I can, because I would be in Middle Earth forever if I had the choice.
Yes. So moving on to another character that worked really well as far as the deep fake recasting is Samwise.
Yeah.
And Nick kind of called this before Bryan Seeker ever did this recasting, because we were watching 1917, and your story was...
I'm like, this is Lord of the Rings. It's 2 dudes going across Mordor,
point A to point B,
to stop a war. No.
Yeah.
It was so perfect. And the character, I didn't see him as Sam, like, the character Dean, but I saw the story just reminded me a lot of Lord of the Rings. And there's like the 2 dudes, they're going and stuff. I'm like, oh man. But like once he mentioned the character playing Sam, I was like, Bob, John, we have to do this, even though he already did it, and we have to do this one.
Yeah,
John's like,
a fun one.
Okay, Nick, which one? Stupid fat. How about that one, precious?
It was a fun scene. And you know what? There was another shot in there, like where I was talking about the Aragorn one, where I had the face spliced in, and I thought, oh, it must have not picked it up for the shot. This is Sean Astin. And I looked, I'm like, no, that's. So I mean, it fit well enough that okay, this is believable. I could see this being the case. It was hard because Sean Astin had a little bit thicker stubble, so when you're trying to splice in the face where the line is, you try and blend it in as best as you can. But you could tell on certain shots that it was there. But overall, as far as the characters and things like that, I could totally picture him being that character.
We had the same issue kind of with Aragorn with a couple shots. Sometimes it was like seamless depending on the angle with the facial hair, but sometimes it was like, he just looks like he has a lot of scruff on the bottom.
Yeah.
But the Sam one was so much fun to do and to splice in. We really had to chop it up with the edit, because he's Sean Astin is like constantly turning while he's talking to Smeagol and Frodo and stuff. So the deepfake doesn't do too well when the face is moving in perspective like that.
It's a complete profile Yeah, when it's a complete profile view, it has a hard time. Okay, where's the face? Because all it has is half the face, whereas if it can see the other side, it's able to lock down the expression and the movement better.
And it also looks like they use the original nose, and everything just goes on the inside. You know what I mean? No matter what, you're gonna keep the original nose shape. That's what I.
Oh yes, if you go sideways, yeah.
That's what I see when we get the footage and stuff. That's one thing I noticed. And then the last one, a dark deepfake.
Maybe as much as I like some of the other ones, that's maybe my favorite one because I didn't really know. Once we looked up what film she'd been in, I'm like, okay, I know who she is, kind of. But I like the idea of unknowns. I think that's why I like Star Wars so much, and people resonated with Star Wars, the original trilogies, because Harrison Ford had been in American Graffiti. Carrie Fisher had been in like one movie. Mark Hamill, I'm not sure. He hadn't been in very much, but he was
probably doing voice acting.
But so Bryan Seeker casting the girl that he did as Galadriel was a fun, because Cate Blanchett's just such a iconic. I mean, I can't imagine a better person for a Galadriel than her. But this woman fit the role. She's a younger version of Galadriel for sure, but
works
still
for elves for sure. You know what I mean? Because elves don't really age.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I sometimes for my wise, I wouldn't want a young Gandalf because you think of the wise old wizard. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the age kind of gives a sense of wisdom. So she's definitely a younger choice, but not knowing who she was made it a little bit more fun to just kind of look at it and say, okay, does she work as this? And not looking at her as, okay, it's Michael Fassbender. It's it's such and such.
We did the deep fakes for Lord of the Rings. We did it. We made it through, John. Your computer's still running. Well, it's more limping, but it's going. It's going to crush the finish line on crawling, but it's going to be there. It was so much fun. Well worth the effort that we put into it. It's always so much fun to go back to and watch our comps and everything that goes into it too, because it's not as simple as just copy paste. I wish it was sometimes. I wish it was as simple as copy paste, because I was like, oh, let's do this. Well, let's do that. I would do so many, but it's a process for sure.
And one of the funny things is so some of you out there might have worked in the industry, whether it's a game industry, film industry, TV, or whatever. If you haven't, when you work on a shot for so long, it's hard to watch it. And I think this is a lot of reasons why actors and actresses and directors don't watch their own movies very often, is they're not able to watch it and enjoy it. They just watch it and pick it apart. And at least at the movie studios and the game studios I've worked at, whenever I see a movie that I worked on or a game that I worked on and I see the shots that I worked on, it just brings back all the memories, all the pain, Sometimes you're like, oh, that looks cool. And sometimes you can look at it and like, oh, that was fun. That was worth it. But I'm curious the next time we go back and watch Lord of the Rings or watch Harry Potter, if we're going to be like, oh, this is the scene. Oh, there's the shot,
Maybe. I don't know. I have a hard time with a couple music videos I worked on. I can't listen to those songs because it's just like, oh my gosh. It gets engraved. I think one was a Kesha one or something. I'm like, no more Kesha. But I think no matter what, it's hard to ruin the original trilogy, no matter what you do to it.
It's not going to ruin it no matter what. Yeah.
It's always so much fun. I mean, I want to do a whole video where I break down almost all the mistakes in the trilogy, because I've watched it so many times where I'm like, mistake. I'm like, oh, this would be so much fun to talk about. So if you want us to do that, please let us know, because I'll do it. Maybe even if you guys don't want to do it, we'll still do it. I don't know. See how it goes.
Regardless if you want to go on Nick's rampage of Lord of the Rings with him or not, check out AsArt.space for all the audio and video links. Obviously on YouTube, we're posting 3 videos a week, so subscribe if you'd like that. Check out all the different content. There's a pretty good breadth of content we've been putting out. We have a lot of other things down the road as well as original content. We want to do our own animated stuff, whether it's 2D, 3D, original content, fun stuff. So check out everything, and we'll see you on the next AsArt.